Hey folks, welcome to Hardly Working. So, I just tested out the integrity of the concrete on this rocket stove, and I am satisfied with this body. But, you know, a rocket stove isn't very useful unless you have something to warm up. And so we're going to add some thermal mass at the end of this exhaust. Now, my idea for this thermal mass bench is just to have a space that is completely wall and ceiling with these cement blocks, and it essentially will just elongate the chimney to go through and heat up all of this extra material. Essentially just keep making little tunnels like this. We got that 90-degree turn. That seems to have been the difficult part. And now we just continue making our bench. I gotta emphasize, when moving large blocks like this, always keep an eye out for pinch points. Do not put your feet underneath the heavy object. Do not put your hands near where they can be pinned and hurt. Always keep safe. We got to the end of that slab, and I made an extension going up and back over, so it kind of just snakes along up, and then it's going to go back out that way. Well, that almost looks professional. Second layer. Second exhaust. I managed to have just enough broken pavers left to do the final layer. So now, if I did things properly, it should go out through the exhaust, around through the entire bottom, then come up, go through the center, then come up one more level, and finally reach this exhaust over here. Of course, this won't work until it's actually covered in dirt, so any extra draft points where I don't want the air to go can get sealed. It always feels like I'm moving more dirt than I actually am. And as you can see, I'm just filling the cracks. I left a little opening right at the bottom of the barrel to let the smoke start channeling through, create the actual draft to draw the air, and then once that's actually going, I can seal that up and it can fill the thermal mass chimney. Okay, we've sealed it up enough for another test. Now we just heat it up and see where the smoke goes. Looks like everything's going according to plan. We got the smoke going all the way up into the top layer. Top layer is obviously not totally sealed yet. And we have minimal leaks. You can see I just put a small stack of rocks where I had that extra flue, and then I sealed that up with a little bit of dirt. Now we just wait a couple of hours and see how hot this chimney rocket mass heater setup works. Alright, yes, there are efficiency issues, especially with this burn chamber. It's probably got the roof angled in the wrong direction. It definitely needs a door to close and seal, but I am happy with this setup and the way that I managed to take all of my spare concrete blocks and make this modular bench. I'm very satisfied. And since I haven't used this barbecue thermometer since episode 1, here's a little contact temperature reading. I should mention that the air coming out of this final bit of exhaust at the end of the bench, it is extremely humid. So we'll see how it dries out after we get the entirety of the bench starting to cure. But I'm getting moisture collecting on my fingers just standing in the way of the smoke. Okay, so a few hours into this burn, and I've realized that I do not actually want peak efficiency, because this is meant to be a communal fire. So I want bits of heat coming out in a bunch of different areas. Some right out front here. Some right up top on this big metal drum. And yes, I also want a little bit of heat to make a nice warm bench, which actually, this feels really nice. But like I said, a rocket stove isn't good until it's useful. So in addition to this extra heat bench, we're going to cook on this drum top.